Sudhir sir casts against type. I want to do every film of Mani sir's, but this particular film I'm not in. I wish I was. With Sanjay sir, I remember he can do sets, he can paint, he can sing beautifully, he can dance beautifully, he can do everything artistic.
I'm going to ask you about 5 filmmakers that are technically, stylistically very interesting filmmakers, and I want you to, if possible, take us through a scene from their films that show how they approach their work and therefore how you worked in that particular scene. Let's start with Bejoy Nambiar and Wazir.
Bejoy he's very visual. I mean, all filmmakers are, but I find with Bejoy, the visual aspect almost takes precedence over the dialogue. Over the dialogue. Yeah, I can say this very, very confidently. I feel that. I may not be right, but I feel that. And I feel like when he visually narrates something, it's almost so much more powerful than when there's dialogue in a scene. If you've noticed, I don't speak very much.
Yeah.
And as I used to always tell Bejoy, I'm in 100 frames throughout the film. So when we first shot it, and it was very new to me, this being shot in slow-mo, it was like I would sometimes, I once went and looked at the monitor and I was literally like that, and I was just like, oh no, okay, I understand, I'm going to do this again. So so one of the scenes that I really found very powerful, and it told me a lot about how powerful Bejoy is with this visual tool that he has, which is so strong in him, is the scene where the little girl, the 3-year-old, the 4-year-old, she when she dies, and in just that small visual time that he gets, he has shown us how perfect this family is, how loving it is, how there is an equality of these two. This couple is equal in their relationship. Their love is equal. Their everything is equal. Their world is beautiful. It's equal. It's ideal. And in 1 second, everything changes. And that scene in the hospital where this girl, she's standing in her full finery. She's a dancer. Again, that says so much about who they are, what they are. She's in all her finery. She's standing there and her world collapses and she breaks down and she cries. It's a silent scream. It's silent crying. And she, in one gesture, you realize that nothing will ever be the same between these two again. And he only did it with that one look in her eye, one push, and his reaction to that. For him, it was like the love of his life has lost trust in him. Like, I'm getting goosebumps saying it because it was very powerful. And again, see, while I'm performing it, I'm not feeling all these things. I can't even put it in words.
Yeah.
It's some feeling that I have, and I'm performing, Farhan is performing, we're going through the scene. But when later I see it, I'm like, oh my God, in just this silence and one thing gesture, he has been able to communicate a lot. And so I find his visual sense very powerful, very strong, and it's very intrinsic to his working style. Also, his use of camera,
right?
And the way he uses camera and the way he also uses music, because I think he, like, a lot of his storytelling happens in the music, including in Shaitan. How much of that happens in the music?
He takes he's very careful about the kind of music that he uses in his films.
Yes, absolutely. And you could just give him a film with silence, music, and scenes, and he'd probably say a lot with it.
Sudhir Mishra, with whom you did Ye Sali Zindagi and more recently Das Dev.
Sudhir sir was a director. I'm going to go back a little. Sudhir sir was a director I was dying to work with because somewhere I felt like, I don't know if I'll ever get an opportunity to work with him. Because when I joined the industry, like I said, everybody has this perception of you. You're a kind of gentle kind of person. And Sudhir sir had a more, his women were obviously more bold, more complicated, more chaotic, more almost seductive. And and I knew that this film of his was being made, Ye Sali Zindagi. And I was called for a test and I wasn't in town. And okay, just so happened that ultimately he called me to the office and he said, do the test now, did it, and I was on. What I realized later that Sudhir sir casts against type, completely against type. And it is almost like that is what fuels him to do that. So it's like everybody's telling him, no, she's too tiny, she's so delicate. How is she going to slap a 6'4" guy and get away with it? It doesn't make sense. And she's like, I want her. That's why I want her. And so obviously he told me all this later. And I found that that is Sudhir sir's, that's how he works. It's like I'll tell you two scenes that to me stand out in Ye Sali Zindagi. One made it to an Amul hoarding, which is that auto scene. I don't know if you remember the film. So here is a girl, she's really young, she's straddled in this ridiculous situation where her husband, who's also very young and idiotic, is constantly in jail and she has this little child, etc., etc. But there's this mad love. It's almost like Yuva and that kind of chemistry. And uh, it's frustration, but it's love that comes out of frustration. It's violence, but then the love that comes out of violence. And that auto scene is like, there's chaos, there's a chase, there's her slapping him, trying to throw him out of the auto. There's a child in the middle of all that. And then he plants a kiss on her and she wants to kill him. But she just melts. And it's so human, but it's so bizarre. Like, and I find that is Sudhir sir. He's so human, so flawed, so bizarre, so chaotic, and he thrives in that, like creating something incredible out of chaos. So it'll either be brilliant or it'll be like, what just happened over there? That's Sudhir sir for me. And I mean, I have a lot of, like, he's got an incredible mind which you can't even grab hold of. It's almost like his mind works faster than his instructions. So you're always like racing to like figure what just happened over there. And another scene that I found very unique was this song, very similar to the auto scene. You know, when I first heard the song, I was like, oh my God, I have one of the most beautiful songs in this film, and I'm such an eternal romantic, and I loved the song, and it was like really beautiful. And then I come to set all prepped to do like my first like love song and all. And Sudhir sir starts with, so now when you come in, you push him and all the vessels fall. And I was like, what are we shooting? And then you push, he pushes you, you push him, then you fall on the bed, then the bed breaks. And I'm like, what's going on here? So, but that's Sudhir sir. I mean, I can't even explain to you. It's like anything you expect, it is going to be the opposite. But what, as a viewer, what you feel from it is just like it's quite like it you feel a bit like that, but it's very powerful. Is what I feel. I don't know. Did I explain?
Yeah. Mani Ratnam, obviously. You worked with them on Kartaviliday and Chekkachivandavanam.
Manisa, where do I start? So with Manisa, as my team says, you have to say 1, 2, 3, start, and then she'll start, and then you can just take a nap, wake up, eat something, because she doesn't stop talking about Manisa. So
now you're doing Ponniyin Selvan as well with them. Yeah.
You also, you too, ate too. What is going on? I am trying to convince people I'm not in this movie.
Are you not in this movie?
I really love your reaction. This is what I live for. Thank you so much. I want to do every film of Manisa's, but this particular film I'm not in. I wish I was.
Okay.
But I'm not in. Subsequently, I promise you I will be in every film of his.
No, because I thought there was news that you were, and you were cast as this character.
I genuinely don't want to talk about Ponniyin Selvan because also you know how Manisa is. They want to make their own announcements.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to get the wrong idea. As of now, I'm not in it. Let's just say that.
Okay, let's go back to the ones that you did with him. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What really told me a lot about how Manisa works is not just from how he directs you on set, it's also from how the team is on set and how he captains that team on set. And from my screen test, I think what he said to me that day at my screen test suddenly made a, like, what is that? There's one thing, na, Putti Columbus,
Yeah.
that happened to me.
Yeah.
It was literally like, oh my God, yeah, that's what it is. I can't, like, it's not about what I know, what I can do, what I can show, my gimmicks, my, tricks, it's literally about, can I listen to what this person tells me, make it my own, and put out some magic so, it works. That really changed everything about my, just how I arrive on a set, how I work, etc., etc., etc. And I feel like with KV, it's a film that's too close to my heart. The character that I played, the film, the experience, the journey, um, like I always say, like it affirmed my belief in unicorns and dreams and all of that. So, and I feel like with KV, mm, now when I look back, I feel like each scene of KV is perfect. Each scene from is almost like you don't need to say anything else about that relationship and those two characters. Each scene says everything. It's almost like they're almost like short stories, and they are perfect and whole in themselves, those scenes. And I feel the way that film was told was almost like a disjointed memory.
Yeah.
But that's what memories are, disjointed. Yeah. And those memories are perfect when you feel epic love. And I feel like, that just that character Leela, it made me understand a lot about how Manisha works, how he thinks, I mean, I'll still not know the full,
Right.
I'll still not have the full understanding, but I feel like he creates this atmosphere on set, whether it's with his character or just with his scenes, or just actually really, where, you can be very vulnerable, completely like a child, so free, absolutely fearless, because you know that you are completely protected. You have every space to make any mistake, and you will be like if you fall off the cliff, he'll catch you and he'll put you back on the cliff and say, now jump again, no problem, keep jumping. So it's that kind of atmosphere which I found very incredible. And that there are a couple of scenes for me that made me feel like that. One is a very simple thing. It was, in Van, there's one shot where I run and I jump into Karti's arms and he just does that.
Yeah.
I can't explain to you how that one little jump is, to me, a complete understanding of uh, learning, protection, care, nurture, and complete fearlessness to be really risky. Manisha allows you that every step of the way, and he's very collaborative. However young you are, however inexperienced you are, you feel like if Manisha has picked you to be there, you are there to do a job, and it's collaborative. Like, he'll never want to, tell you, now you do this. It'll always be like, and he always says this: let's work towards finding Leela. I love that. I mean, how incredible is that? The other thing I want to say about Manisha is that his characters also are very real. They're flesh and blood characters. You feel their pain, you feel their happiness, you feel everything. But what I love about him and his films and his writing is the childlike belief in love. Is like, he'll never let go of that. Even in a KV where they're so messed up, that idealistic this thing of love, and it exists and it will be there and will not get lost. I love that. And whether it's in that scene where she looks in the mirror and she's saying yes, no, she's confused, but that thing of that fearlessness is there. That scene where the two of them are, opposite like that, and that one scene says so much about everything. They are opposite in character, they're opposite in nature, they're opposite in everything.
The pregnancy thing happens, right? Yeah.
They're both talking London, Tokyo, literally. And the girl who is so vulnerable is the most fearless. The boy who is so fearless is the most vulnerable. And that's just that. And where basically it comes down to, is it yes or is it no? It's that simple. That's how simple the answer is, The snowstorm scene. I mean, I can pick out every scene, and to me it's perfect. That snowstorm scene also. He is the one who's afraid. He's a fighter pilot. he's afraid of a snowstorm. This girl is like a free spirit and she's running into the snowstorm and saying, let me feel the beauty of this. To him, it's frightening. And he says it's to protect her, but she's like, if you are there, what protection do I need? Like, we are whole in ourselves. So he's just incredible like that. And sometimes I want to get into his mind and understand, how does he think like this? It just makes me want to weep sometimes and just be like, yes, there are people like this in this world.
What about Sanjay Leela Bhansali, with whom you did Padmavat?
There's one more thing I want to say about Mani sir.
Sure.
I told you I'll not stop.
Okay.
So the one thing I want to say, Mani sir, what I find incredible about him is his drama comes from the breadth in between the characters, and it's almost like nature plays a huge part in what is happening, and he loves breaking rhythm, but there's a huge harmony in that broken rhythm. I really find that very incredible. And because you said Sanjay sir straight after that, that's what made me remember this, because Sanjay sir, I find the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, I was very interested to know, because he's a favorite filmmaker of mine, because I love how formal he is with his shots and how precise he is.
Yeah.
I have like everybody dismisses it as overblown melodrama, but he locates such intimate small details amidst all that finery and grandeur and largeness. So your experience with him, I just was curious about.
That year for me was very special, and Ranveer told me this because I got off KV. I had a 4-day break or 5-day break, and I went on to the Padmavat set. And Ranveer, who's been a friend of mine from before we became actors, he looked at me and said, Addu, you know how lucky you are? People would kill to be in your place. You got on off Mani sir's set and you're on Sanjay Leela Bhansali's set. And again, both people who I really long to work with. Mani sir, I saw Bombay. Sanjay sir, I saw Khamoshi. Both Manisha Koirala.
Yeah.
And with Sanjay sir, I remember my first day on set was frightening. And it was again a very different scene situation. As you're saying, the detail on set, the grandeur of the set. And suddenly from this intimacy, I was there. But in that space, there is a kind of intimacy that he builds, which is very interesting. But what I realized was how musical he is in his direction, and rhythmic and musical, and how he longs for that musicality in every beat and emotion. That harmony is very, very important to him. And it is to Mani sir as well, but in a different way.
Right.
Sometimes when I talk about these people, I almost feel like I really don't know anything about them. So, I don't know enough about them to say anything, because they're far too experienced. But I'm just telling you
it's your perception. Yeah.
My perception, my feeling more than anything else. More than my understanding is my feeling. And I really, really found him so, and it's also because Sanjay sir has such a love and understanding and interest in everything artistic. He can do sets, he can paint, he can sing beautifully, he can dance beautifully, he can do everything artistic. And he also has a incredible, he's a, what is the word, Rasik?
Yeah.
Truly, he's truly that, including beauty. Like, there would be times when he would just for 10 minutes look at a frame, and one one of us would be in that frame, and he would just talk about how much he loved the frame or the actor, and it really made you feel special. But in 1 second, he would be like, okay, now come on, get back to work. So that is so much a part of who he is. And if you try to mess with that harmony, it drives him crazy. Like, it almost makes him angry, because of how much beauty he sees in his vision and in that perfection, and how much to the level of which he reveres it almost. It's like, suppose, like, as a kid, we always learned that the art is bigger than the artist.
Yeah.
And he truly, like, I think, like, he truly believes that. And so sometimes if his actors behave like nincompoops, it really irritates him, because it's like, we're creating something over here. And I feel like even somebody like Mani sir also, they all, like, these great directors have that. It's just that they all deal with it differently. So I felt with Sanjay sir, it was almost like choreography, the way he
Yeah.
conceptualized scenes, the way he blocked them, the way the way we move, the way we. I mean, it's very poetic. I don't like when I use this word. I also feel like so is Manisa poetic, but in a different way. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting. These two filmmakers are so to me so similar, but completely different in how they work and how they bring that poeticism, is that the correct word, out on screen.
So you want to take a scene and just explain to me, because one thing I'm curious about is Bhansali is very, there's a rigidity in his in the way he wants his actors to perform. When I say rigidity, I don't mean it in a bad way,
No,
but
I know.
there's a certain, almost like dance. It's a performative kind of style, as opposed to like you were talking about, like a Samoanam you were in or something, like where you'd be more natural. You'd be like behaving like a perfectly girl next door type of person. Whereas here, you will have others, you will have certain things that you will do which will be out of theater or dance or things like that, which are not exactly cinematic. So would you want to kind of is there something that you could tell us about that?
Again, I can tell you from my own experience. I did a particular scene. It was the scene where Ranveer banishes me when I walk into the court. It was almost like dance. We redid that shot maybe 5 or 6 times, which for Sanjay sir is not very much, but we literally redid it because the the sound of the steps of the soldiers walking with me were not in sync, or one soldier was a little off, or I was not right in the middle of the arch, or the musicality of that pace was, but somehow there's, as an actor also, because you are in a period setup, etc., etc., and also maybe it's because of my own upbringing and my whole connection with music and dance, it felt very correct to me that it needed to be like that, because I mean, she's brought up a queen, she's a princess, and now she's a queen, and there is that inherent grace, and that it will not ever be ruffled. Whether she's being banished, whether she's being killed, she will die with grace in her eyes, with, like, with beauty, literally from every pore spilling from her body. So I get where he was coming from, and then I come to Ranveer, and again, it's that thing of that drama of that. There's that light in between them, which is almost like that. I don't know what it is. Is it her understanding? Is it his? Is it the love? Is it the separation? Is it? I don't know what that light was, but there was that backlight, and and it was just these two characters looking into each other's eyes, and in that one scene, in those few dialogues, and the girl actually doesn't say very much, he speaks more, we had to convey love, childhood love, like that this is your person, this is my person, and but we have let each other down, but we still love each other, like despite the fact that he's killing me, he still loves me, and he will never love anybody like he loves me. And for her, she knows it. And then that 1 second, and I remember Sanjay sir once told me, I never have to tell you, because he, I think he likes it when you don't keep blinking on camera. Maybe it's my dance training. I don't know what it is. It's not like he's telling you what to do, but he wants a certain dignity and a grace, and for you to never fall from that. That also tells me a lot about his understanding of women and where he places them. So too with Manisa in a very different way. There's that they are always there. There's always grace. There's always dignity. There's always a fearlessness. And Mehrunisa, again, a very vulnerable, gentle, innocent, pure girl, but fearless. She looks into the eyes of this maniac and says, I love you, and I'll never let you do the wrong thing. You kill me, you do what you like. I love that. And I think it says a lot to me about the filmmaker, how he perceives women, how he perceives love, and again for Sanjay sir, love is very destructive. It's like for Mani sir, it's very very ideal, and there's always love. For him, it's almost just like they destroy each other.
Yeah.
And
Actually, but at the end of Cartography, though, I could not make up. If I was thinking of a little after that, I was like, okay, right now he's kind of gotten to her,
yeah,
and he's kind of at this point where his penance has happened, and he's with her.
yeah.
But I don't know. 2 months later, what's going to happen?
You're right.
Yeah.
But that also gave me a lot of, not peace, I would say. And it gave me a lot of, like, I felt very strengthened by that thought. Because I was just like, here's a girl. She's fearless. She loves the guy. She will do anything for him. But she will not allow him to mistreat her. She'll probably her entire life be in
especially now she has a daughter. So there's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that gave me a lot, that in fact reaffirmed my belief in that beautiful love, and also in dignity, and in the dignity of love. So I was good with that.
You've talked us through filmmakers who come with a certain history, with expectations. You know about their work. When you come to a set like Sufim Sujatim, where you have a director like Naranipuzha Shanavas, who has done one film earlier, Kari, how do you place your trust in that person? Because with these earlier people, the film may work, the film may not work, the character may work, the character may not work. All that's fine, but at least the history of the director makes you say, okay, you know what, I can jump into this. How do you deal with that with something like Sufim Sujatim?
That's a really good question. And I think also because I work so much, like for me, the basic basis of any relationship, whether it's director, actor, personal, friends, whatever, it's like trust for me is very important. And I'm either there or I'm not there. I think one is it's very instinctive, that trust, because you get a vibe from a person, and sometimes might be difficult, it might be complicated, but to me, what is the most important when I'm entering any kind of new space where I don't know what's going to happen to me, is intent. I feel intent is the only thing that you can actually place your bets on. In terms of, when I say place your bets, like, it's a very very underrated thing, intent. And I think it's the truest thing, because whatever happens after that, I will not regret it, as long as the intention was pure, clean, real, all of the above. With Shanavas, I feel like, in fact, I had not even watched his first film. So what happened was, I got this 2-line narration at an award function backstage. It was pouring, and the producer Vijay sir, he came and gave me this. He said, "We've been looking for our Sujata, and I want you to do this, etc., etc." And I was like, "Okay, I'm happy to hear it, etc." And then he said, also, the one interesting thing is she's a dancer. I was like, oh, okay. And then he said, and she's speech impaired. I was like, oh, okay. That made me really excited. I was like, yeah, no dialogues. So, no, I'm kind of kidding, but I'm also serious. And that's what really made me curious to listen to the story, because they were like, we've been looking for Sujata for a while, etc., etc. And then I heard the story, and I met the director. The director didn't say very much. So I couldn't really get an understanding of, I didn't know where I was going, what was going to happen to me. But one thing was very, very clear to me, that he loved what it is that he had written. He was dying to make it. And his intention was very, very clear and simple. Later, I also realized that conviction was clearly stubborn, which can be frustrating, but I have a lot of respect for stubborn conviction.
Like he would say, like he would want you to do a scene and say, do it this way.
No, never. No, never. I think strangely with me, what happened on this film is, like, on the first day itself, they did a scene. See, also because I was silent, so dialogues then weren't a problem. The first day we did a scene, and I remember he came up to me and he said, "This is my Sujata." And that day I felt very thrilled with myself. But then after that, I realized that, I didn't want him to be happy with just the first thing that I was giving him. So after that, about 5-6 days into shooting, I would then I would actually, which I never usually do, I would start looking at the monitor and requesting him for another take to say that, can I just add this? You see if it works for you. Because he was new and I felt like, it might help. And if it doesn't, I was very happy, whatever he chooses to edit. But I wanted to try a little. And I felt like I'm so, like you rightly said, I'm so used to arriving on set like a blank slate. And I always say this, I'm that full director's actor. You take me, I'm a sponge, I'll absorb everything, I'll come on camera, that's my little wonderland, I'll do my thing, and I really enjoy that. Over here, I found that I was actually learning in a different way, where I was trying to apply the things that I had seen and learned over the years and trying to say, can we do this? Maybe we can do this. Maybe we can elevate it like this. Maybe I can do this. And there was a point where I never do this because I'm always like my co-actor has to have an equation with the director. I have to have an equation with the director. And then we come together and make it work. But there were one or two times where I actually even said something to my co-actor because he was new. And I took permission from
this is not Jayasuriya, this is somebody else.
No.
Yeah,
The new Dave. I would tell the director, I would be like, can I suggest this to him because I feel like it might help? And he would be like, yes, go ahead. So I had a lot of freedom. He never told me what to do. But he was quite, tied to his vision and his what he was trying to achieve, which is great because, with a film like this, which is so delicate and sensitive, it can start going in other directions with a new director. But because he was so stubborn about what it is exactly that he was trying to say, we all tried very hard to understand. Even if we disagreed, we'd be like, okay, we'll do it. We'll do this, we'll do that. So that's why, I felt like that's also another kind of trust. Where you're like, okay, I'm not quite understanding this, but I will make sure that I'll put in that effort to understand it and do it. So it was very interesting for me and very different for me. And I feel like, I shot a film with Mohan Sir and Nani recently.
That's called V, right?
V, yeah. And I felt like, my first schedule of Sufiyum Sujatyam and my second schedule of Sufiyum Sujatyam changed because of my shoot at V. My shooting at V really opened something in my brain, and I realized how an actor can be very, very collaborative in a particular way, and it really helped me be a little more fearless about giving my suggestions. I've never really had to give a suggestion. No, it's because you're just listening and you're like, wow. Like I would so often tell Vani sir, I was quite like cheeky with him quite often, and because there's a line in KV which says, Mitran, you're a genius. I say that to my tata. And quite often Manisha would say something and I'd look at him and say, Mitran, you're a genius. So I've never had to, and in this, I got that confidence after, V and working on that. So it was for me, it was quite a,
interesting.
I don't know if I can do that if I'll do that on every set. But this set, I really enjoyed that, being so collaborative, being so, one day I actually asked, and again, I've never done that. There was a scene of a particular scene, which I hope you'll watch the film, and we did it in one shot. It was a long scene, and we did it. Well, there were quite a few scenes because it was just me in the scene and I'm not talking to anybody. So I would request for, can we try to do this in one shot? And they would be very open to it. And I would do the whole thing in one shot. They were so open to that, and I would not even think about it on another set.
Would you say that maybe this is kind of giving you ideas of becoming a director one day? No.
I love being in front of the camera too much to be behind it.
You can direct yourself. There are people who've done that,
You mean like suppose Dhanush, he'll direct and be in front of the camera?
Yeah, like Kamal Hassan, Dhanush, yeah. So, yeah.
No. There are many amazing.
Yeah, you're happy giving suggestions.
Not even that. I don't even want to give a suggestion. I like collaborative work. And usually I find that the director has so many great ideas and, I just find that I like that. I love it's my dance training actually.
Yeah,
It comes from that. But yeah, today I'm a little less I'm a little less fearful of saying, can we try this? Yeah, maybe.
yeah.
But I don't think I do that on every set.
But
But
that's great to hear. Thank you so much, Aditi. It's been a very eye-opening conversation, and all the best for your film.
thank you. I hope you
Yeah.
watched it.
Yes, and I also want to thank the great city of Hyderabad for providing us all this lovely free Foley effects, all this sound that we've been hearing throughout this interview. So thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank you. Really
yeah,
nice talking to
yeah. Bye.
you. Bye.